I'm honored, privileged, and very moved to be here. Just want to take a moment for these extraordinary women who have touched me to my core. And I just want to honor your courage, your strength, and your suffering. I just want to take a moment, because I think we rush through testimonies. We rush through them, you know, just the speed of light. And they take years to purge and years to transform. And I just wanted to stop after each of you spoke, just to take time to take in your suffering, take in what you've been through. Because that's a life, and that's another life that's attached to another life, which is attached to another life. It's very profound for me to be here today. It's in the middle of V-Day season, and really V-Day began in Croatia. Really at the Center for Women War Victims with Rada Boric in Croatia, in Zagreb, where I went during the war and spent much time interviewing women survivors of horrible atrocities in this country and throughout the Balkans. It was a very huge turning point in my own life as a survivor of rape and a survivor of enormous violence. The idea that it was happening on a mass scale in the middle of Europe in 1994 seemed utterly unimaginable, and yet, in fact, it was happening. And I think those stories, listening to women in camps and centers, changed my life and changed the direction of my life, and made me essentially make a decision that I was going to devote my life to ending violence against women and girls. So I really owe it to the survivors in Bosnia, in Croatia, who told their stories so bravely that my life and the direction of my life changed. And hopefully the direction of the world to some degree. I also just want to honor all those women's groups, Center for Women War Victims, and all the NGOs and women's groups in Croatia and Bosnia doing such amazing work all these years with survivors. I was sitting today thinking how 2 nights ago in Manila, there was a huge V-Day event to honor the comfort women, the Lolas they're called in Manila, who were raped during World War II, horribly raped by Japanese soldiers from the Philippines and throughout Asia, who are still now waiting for reparations and retribution and some kind of justice. And many of those women are now in their 80s and are dying, and a lot of them have died without justice. And the other night, my friend Monique was talking to me about what it was like for them to still be going every Tuesday and Thursday and demanding justice. And I was sitting here today to be honest with you, in a total rage, in a rage. How is it possible that we as human beings do not understand that the life of one woman is the life of us all? It's not one woman, it's her children, it's her community, it's her connection, it's the fabric of society. That we talk about laws. What laws? What laws? Human law. There's a human law, the law of humanity, which is that when a woman is hurt or destroyed or infected or undone or damaged, it is done to everyone in that society. And what I've seen with the Lolas, is that their grief, their suffering, their lack of justice has created a lack of justice throughout the entire society. Where is sex trafficking now rampant in the world? Where are girls being sold in the world at the price of a cell phone in the Philippines? And it is escalated because at the core of that society, there has been no justice. At the core of that society, there has been no reparation. I've spent the last 6 years in the Congo, which after many years traveling in Afghanistan and Haiti and Kosovo, here, throughout the world, I think I have probably listened and sat and heard the worst sexual violence stories in the world. But when I got to the Congo, I actually crossed over into another zone. I heard stories that really I can't talk about in public. My life was shattered, honestly shattered. Now I wait with them while they, hundreds and thousands of women wait for justice and reparations, wait for one person to be indicted, wait for one person to be indicted. It's amazing, man. I was listening to you talking about the cries of women and how those cries have impacted your soul. Your soul. We're talking about our souls. We can talk about laws and we can talk about legalities, but we're talking about our souls. We live in communities where our women and our men have heard the cries of women, have heard the heartbeat of women being extinguished for a period of time because of crimes that are done to their bodies. And when I listen to these women today, I listen to these women walk the streets and look at their perpetrators who have fine lives, who have money, who go on. What I would do is get a gun. I don't know how people walk with the kind of anger and rage that evokes in them, but it's an indication of the humanity of the women who are raped. It's an indication of the profound goodness of women who are raped. They don't walk around with AK-47s, and I mean that. Because when you have been raped, I can speak as a survivor, it enters your soul, it enters your cells, it enters your DNA, it enters your being. I want to say, and I was thinking when I was sitting here, like, what do we do as a world that's above the law? You know, they're above the law. How do we make recompense? How do we make reparations? How do we honor the women in our societies who have suffered the kind of suffering that these women have suffered? And I think we have to think outside laws. I think we have to invent new laws. I think we have to be courageous and say, wow, what could we as human beings do to recompense them? But how do we do that? Let's make it up. Let's use our imaginations. Let's come up with something creative. Let's decide as Vukovar that we're going to create a fund together as this community. And we're going to ask these women what they need. How will you get better? How will you feel justice has been served you? How will you feel after you have told your story 10 and 20 times that you have received justice? What will it take? Sit down with them. Let them tell you what justice will mean. And then do it. Do it. Find the money. Find whatever it takes to get the women in this society justice. I want to say one of the things about sexual violence that after all these years is the marginalization of this issue. It isn't enough that a woman is taken away into a room by herself, isolated, and have some man shove himself into her and shove many men into her by herself alone. But then to live with that in her body, then to walk in a society which marginalizes that problem, so much so that she doesn't even feel safe enough in this society to come forward to talk about what's happened to her. And then when she does, is asked to repeat it over and over and over with no justice. Talk about marginalization. And I am convinced that the reason we marginalize women like this is that A, we don't know what to do with our own grief. We don't know what to do with our own shame. We don't know what to do with our own guilt about what has happened to the women in our societies. So we re-punish the survivors. We re-hurt the survivors with our own inadequacies. And what I want to say to the women here is, I do feel your grief. I cry every day of my life for what's been done to the women of Croatia, of Bosnia, of Sierra Leone, of Congo, of Iraq, of Afghanistan, of Sudan. I spend my life crying about it. I will continue to cry without shame, because we should all be crying. We should all be grieving for what's been done to you. And that grief, if we felt it, would allow us and would push us to do something much bigger than we have done here. We're coining it out. We're going, let's give a little bit over here. We'll give you a month's health care, and we'll give you a little bit of this. No, no, we'll give you all of ourselves. What can we give you? What can we do for you that will make your lives better and will reverse this horrible, horrible transgressions on your souls? And if it's anything less than that, then we have not honored the women of our society. We have not honored their goodness in that they don't have AK-47s. We have not honored the way they have gone on to love their children and their husbands and rebuild their community. Every single one of these women who talked today went back for her children. Every single woman in the midst of being raped was thinking about her children. That's how good women are. That's how good they are, and we all need to be that good. We all need to be that good. Thank you.